Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to SuperGIS webinar, Responding to Natural and Urban Environment Changes with 3D GIS Technology. This webinar will be around 15 minutes with 10 minutes Q&A time in the end. My name is Tae. I'm the sales representative in SuperGIS Technology. I'll be your hostess today. And here I have George sitting next to me.
Hi, my name is George and I'm the speaker today.
George is a SuperGIS product specialist. He has a master's degree and solid experiences in GIS. And of course, SuperGIS support team is right here with us too. So please feel free to raise any questions during the webinar. I can see now we have around 50 participants today online. Thanks so much for your support. For some of our new friends, let me show you SuperGIS product roadmap first. SuperGIS provides GIS solution covering all platforms. As you can see here, we have mobile GIS for data collecting, desktop GIS for analyzing, developer GIS for our advanced users to create customized applications, and last but not least, the server GIS for data sharing and publishing. Today we're going to show you how do we respond to natural and urban environment changes with SuperGIS 3D as server. I believe most of you are curious about how do we respond to these disasters like tsunami, hurricanes, underground pipeline explosion in urban area. What can we do to prevent or to recover from this tragedy? Let me give you a brief introduction first. We used to analyze GIS data on flat 2D map, but in SuperGIS 3D as server, we may further explore the spatial relations from a large scale, even go underground to pipeline distribution. So for the developers, you can publish your service from SuperGIS Desktop, and for the client side, they can see the service from various client-side applications. So we can make better management or decisions to minimize the damage. George will give us some example in the demo later. And you must be thinking, what's the advantage of displaying this GIS data in 3D? I'll give you an example. We have a lot of typhoons here in Taiwan every summer. By integrating with the real-time weather info, we may predict the typhoon path. And overlay with the terrain models, more analysis and predictions can be done, from large scale to small scale, all in 3D. Meanwhile, we can centrally manage this large quantity of data and enhance the security in your geodatabase, like Microsoft SQL Server. The most important thing is it's extended the GIS technique to various client applications, such as web browser when we publish the data from internet. Okay, I hope you already have the basic concept after my brief introduction. And later in the webinar, if you have any questions, please just type in the red box on your right-hand side, or you may drop us an email to staff@supergeotech.com. And also, if you have a Twitter account, please follow us now at SuperGIS. We will post some a live screenshot of the webinar, even answer some questions on Twitter for you. So please follow us on Twitter at SuperGIS. Okay, so now, George.
All right. Thanks to you for the wonderful introduction. And in today's webinar, I'm going to talk about how to use our product to respond to rapid changes of natural and urban environment. And we all know that when natural or urban environment changes rapidly, it is likely to have a disaster. And they can be classified into natural-induced and human-induced disasters based on their causes. And some examples like landslides and floods that are caused by the earthquakes and heavy rains are natural-induced disasters. And disasters like fire, gas line explosion that are caused by people are human-induced disasters. So if we can show those environmental data in 3D, it will be much easier to understand and monitor our world. All right, and the product we propose today is SuperGIS 3D as Server 3.2. It can help you to visualize your data in 3D and share them through the internet. Also, you can integrate maps from different sources like KNL, WMTS, WMTS, and OGC formats into this 3D platform. And also you can draft those layers onto the terrain. So we provide various front-end applications for you to access the 3D map, including JavaScript and plugin and standalone application. The JavaScript is a web application that can be accessed by HTML5 browsers like Chrome and Firefox, and its performance is limited by browsers. So we provide another web application that is called SuperGIS 3D Server plugin, the plugin version, and it supports IE, Chrome, and Firefox. But there is also a standalone application just like Google Earth for you to access the service published by SuperGIS 3D Server. So the plugin and standalone application uses two graphic engines, and they are OpenGL and DirectX, so you can select either one that suits your PC better. Now, why you need it? The reason why you need to use SuperGIS 3D Server is that sometimes, no, not sometimes, always, it is very difficult to collect and maintain the 3D models like DEM data elevation models, the KND models, and CTGNL models, and so on. So it is very important to share those 3D models through the internet and reduce the cost of data collection and maintenance. Today, I prepared 3 demonstrations, and each of them represents a use case scenario. The first one shows how to use the product to model urban environment and make quick response if a disaster takes place. And the second demo is monitoring natural environment to prevent disasters like landslides. And in this demo, you will see how to use APIs to customize your own function. And last, I will show you how to use the SuperGIS 3D Server to build your own globe application and begin to share your GIS data. So, in part 1, the urban environments are most concerned by the citizens, and where disaster takes place in the urban area, it usually causes serious losses. So SuperGIS 3D Server has the ability to help you display a 3D virtual city. And in this demo, I will show you how to do that with the product. And I will mainly use the SuperGIS 3D Server to demonstrate. Also, I will show you another product that is called a 3D desktop application, the SuperGIS Globe.
George, just in case our audience get confused about you just say SuperGIS Globe and SuperGIS 3D Server, can you tell us what's the difference between those two?
Okay. The SuperGIS Globe is included in the 3D analysis extension, so it is not included in the SuperGIS 3D Server. And the biggest difference between the two is that SuperGIS Globe allows users to add more local files. So if you want to show some local files in 3D, then you can use SuperGIS Globe. But if you don't have those 3D models, as I mentioned earlier, it is very difficult to get those 3D models. So you can use the SuperGIS 3D Server and try to access the published service that have been published by others. So these are the difference of the two.
Thank you.
Yeah. And in this demo, I used a human-induced disaster as an example. And this year in the southern Taiwan, there is a gas line explosion, as you can see in the graph and in the figures here. These are the explosion at that night, and the explosion caused tremendous losses of lives and money. So after the accident, there are a lot of first-hand data like aerial photos or pipelines shown here, the pipeline data, and even LiDAR images being available on the internet just a few days later. And these data all contributed by the citizens who live there. So we can overlay those first-hand data to the 3D space and try to make quick response to the disaster, because this kind of first-hand data, they cannot be published by the government because they are contributed by citizens. So we have to download those data to our platform and quickly show the data on the platform and to see what we can do to make a quick response to the disaster. So in this way, we'll be able to improve the response and recovery stage of the disaster management cycle. So here is the cycle of disaster management. And when a disaster takes place, it is very important that how we respond to it and do the recovery work. So these are the objectives in this demo. I will show you how to use local files to help display a virtual city and how to use the first-hand data I mentioned earlier for response and recovery works. And before this demo, I had already published some satellite images and vector layers and some 3D models to my server. So you will see those layers later. And I also create a website. So you will see all the published layers in the website in the demo later. So now I'm going to show you the website created. So this is it. This is the plugin version of the web application.
So this is the free plugin application we provided on the SuperGIS website, right?
Yes, this is a free viewer.
And as we can see on the right-hand side, those data are the just mentioned you prepared before.
Yeah, this data I had already published the data to the SuperGIS 3DS server, and I access those data by using the plugin application. So you can see all the services here are being published to the server already. So now in here we have some default GIS tools for you. For example, the overview index map, and also you can try to overlay some KNL or KND files by using tools here, or you can try to measure the length, area, and something like that. So and also you can use your mouse or the navigators here. The one is similar to the Google Earth. So you can use the navigator to navigate around the SuperGIS 3DS server. But there's also another way to help you quickly fly to a destination. That is by using the APIs to customize the destination and flight animation. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is fly to Taiwan by clicking the icon here. And then I can fly to Taiwan because I had already set that Taiwan as a destination. And then I can fly to another place by clicking another icon here to show you a 3D city. So here again, I customize the button and this destination, the flying speed, the flying route, anything. So I can use the API to customize almost everything I want. All right, and then in here we can show different layers that had been published by the SuperGIS 3DS server. So now you see that here is a satellite image that had been published. But also, if you want to show more detailed image, for example, the aerial image, you can also show them because they are already published. So you can see that the images of this one, the resolution is much higher than the satellite image. You can see that. And then, if you want to show different information at different scales, you can use the visible scale to do that trick. For example, now I have enabled this typicity zoning layer, and I want to see that this layer when I have zoomed in enough to show the information. So now I'm going to zoom in, and you can see when I'm zooming enough, the layer will shows on the map. So I can see different information at different scales. For example, the red box here represents for the commercial area, and the yellow box represents for the residential area and things like that. So you can use the visible scale to control which layer you want to see at different scales. So in the 3D map, there's also one very important thing is that you want to show the 3D models. For example, here, These are the KNL files, KNL models that have been published to the server, and we support KNL files and also CTGNL files. All the two files are all in OGC standards, and they are very convenient for sharing the 3D information. So you can see you can use that KNL model to help you to display a realistic model and a really vivid 3D city. But sometimes it is not easy to get so many KNL files. So there's also a very quick way to help you to display a 3D virtual city. That is by using your traditional 2D GIS data.
George, we have an audience asking about traditionally, you just said traditionally, we see this building in a 2D map like this, and how do we transform these 2D data to 3D?
Yeah, originally we have the maybe the outline of each building here, and they are in traditionally in 2D, and there may be some attributes recording the level or the floors of the building. So we can use that information and try to extrude the data into 3D, just like here. I can extrude the 2D layer into 3D buildings. So this is how we can utilize the original 2D GIS data and try to use them and display in the 3D virtual city. So in addition to the 3D models, maybe the citizens may want to know more about the city information, for example, like traffic information. So I can show real-time traffic information here. And okay, the different colors now stands for different situation of the road. So for example, here the green line shows the smooth traffic, and the red may be traffic jam there. So these are all real-time data.
And George, where can we get this real-time data?
Sometimes maybe, for example, for this data, this is the data published by the government. So we can use this data to access the service that have been published by the government. So we can always get the latest information of the traffic, and we can use that to try to navigate to see how will it be like to drive through the city. For example, just like this, you can see how will it look like to driving through the city in the 3D space. Okay, so now I have shown you that how to use the 3DS to help you display a 3D virtual city or a 3D urban area. So now let's talk about the disasters happened in the Taiwan, southern part of Taiwan this year. So when the disaster happened, explosion happens, there are a lot of first-hand data like the pipeline. So I had downloaded the pipeline that had been contributed by the citizens.
It's in southern Taiwan.
Yeah, it's in southern Taiwan. So let me add the file first. Okay, so this is the gas pipeline data that being contributed by the citizens there. So now, okay, when I add the KNL file, I will automatically pan to the extent of the data. So I can see, for example, here, these are the blue lines here represent for the underground pipelines, and to visualize them, I have trapped those layers onto the surface, so you can see the pipeline on the surface now. And these two fire icons here represent for the explosion of the gas line. So when I be able to add this first-hand data into the platform, then I will be able to make some decisions like, okay, now I see there's explosions here, and maybe the pipeline that had been connected to the exploded pipeline should be, the people who live there should be evacuated, and to try to reduce if there is another sequential explosion, I can try to reduce the damage.
And of course, the staff in the city government or the rescue commander, they can know better how to how to send out the rescue car or fire car.
Yeah. That is very important. So we can use this 3D platform to make some quick decisions based on the first-person data and try to visualize the data in 3D so you can better understand the environment. And in the second scenario, I will show you, let me show you that how you can use the product to monitor natural environment. And by doing so, we will be able to prevent or at least reduce the damage of disasters. And in this part, I want to show you that in addition to the default tools provided by the SuperGIS 3D Go, SuperGIS 3D server, we also provide powerful 3D APIs for developers to customize their own function. So we provide nearly 500 methods in our API, and that is really a lot. So here, I will use landslides as an example. The main causes of landslides here in Taiwan are steep slopes and intense rainfalls. So therefore, we can monitor places that are prone to have landslides by monitoring its rainfall. And if there is an intense rainfall, then we can try to alert nearby cities and villages to reduce the loss. And that is the prevention and preparedness of the disaster management cycle. And by monitoring environments, we will be able to predict what will happen next and take actions in advance. So here is the goals in this demo. I will show you how to use API to customize an info window and show nearby rainfall station data information. And we can also overlay some real-time rainfall information for monitoring. And whenever there is an intense rainfall, then we can alert nearby cities. So again, before the demo, I had also published some satellite images and 3D models, and I also create a website. I also use some APIs to customize the website to create a function that shows info window when we click on a KNL object. So you can see how to do that and what is the effect. So now I'm going to using TeamViewer to access my computer to show you the application. Now you see that this is my application on my computer. We may experience some delay due to the access of the TeamViewer, but that is okay. So now here is we can see that here is somewhere in Taiwan, and here we often have a lot of landslides here because there are a lot of steep slopes, and whenever there's a heavy rain, we will have a landslide here. So our government tried to set up some stations and try to monitor the situations there in case that if there's a landslide happen, then we can try make a very quick response. So here now we try to use the data to monitor the landslide information. So these icons here, the building icons here, are the landslide station, and when I click on the icon, I can see its information inside. So for example, we can see the station name, the location of the station, coordinates, and something like that. And also we can see some real-time photos here. So
it's black and white?
No, it should be color pictures, but because it's now the midnight in Taiwan, so as I mentioned earlier, the photo are real-time information. So these are the on-site images.
Because in Taiwan it's like 11:30.
Yeah. It's really late now, so you can see that
it is real-time data.
Yeah, it's real-time data. Yeah, so you can see that all the other cameras cannot see anything because there are no lights there. Yeah.
So the pictures and the information is replaced automatically by the staff or the camera on site?
Yeah, I think it's replaced by the cameras. Yeah. So in addition to viewing this station information, I can also add some real-time information like the rainfall information. So I can again use the KNL file to add the landslide the rainfall information here. Okay, open this layer. So this layer is originally in 2D, and after I overlay the KNL layer to the to the 3D platform, it becomes a 3D image. So you can see that here, because we have a lot of mountains here, so the rain, there are a lot of rains here now. But overall, the weather in Taiwan here is now pretty good. So you can see that the colors here are almost white here because there are no rainfall here now.
So you can see the date above, right?
Yeah. So
today.
It's today. So again, I prove it that this is really real-time data. So yeah, you can trust me. Yeah. So whenever we see that if there is intense rainfall coming, then we can try to do something to prevent the landslides here. So this is how we can use the platform to try to monitor the on-site information and try to do something before the disasters. Okay, so in this part, I show you that how we can use the API to customize some functions, for example, the info window whenever we click on a KNL object. Okay, and then we can also access some real-time information by displaying another KNL information and to try to monitor the natural environment and to do something before disaster comes.
In the next part, George will tell us how do we publish 3D services and how do we build up our own globe. George?
Okay, thank you for the opening. And in the last part, I will introduce how to build up your own 3D web application, just like the first two I show you in the demo. And you will learn how to use SuperGIS Desktop, which is another GIS desktop application, to prepare and publish the data, and use SuperGIS 3D as server to manage your resources and web applications. So here is the workflow of SuperGIS 3D as server, including here the data preparation and publishing, and then you can use the manager to manage the resources and the server. And then for the front-end users, they can use applications to access the 3D maps. So in the first stage, you can publish all the GIS data you have to be displayed in SuperGIS 3D as server, including vector, raster, and terrain data. And then the SuperGIS server will automatically help you to fuse those 2D and 3D information into a true 3D map. And in the next stage, the data you published will become a reusable resources that you can use them in a lot of different applications. And all the data you publish will be centrally stored in one storage. So it is very easy for you to manage all your data. And you can manage the published resources by using SuperGIS 3D as server manager. In the last stage, you can show your web application to your audiences to explain the geographical issues or solutions in the 3D space. So now, SuperGIS 3D as server gives our user an integrated data publishing experiences. And users can use either SuperGIS Desktop or Map Designer, which come along with SuperGIS 3D as server, to design and publish the data. That means that they can design, process, and design their maps under a familiar environment. So for example, if you want to do some GIS analysis and tasks, you can use SuperGIS Desktop to help you design your map and perform some GIS analysis. And then if you don't have GIS Desktop, SuperGIS Desktop, then you can use the Map Designer to help you design the map. But you cannot perform any GIS geoprocess or any GIS task in the Map Designer. You have to buy SuperGIS Desktop to do that thing. So, and then after you have designed your map, you can use the add-on, the 3D as administrator, to publish the service to the server. And then after you have published the server, you can use the SuperGIS 3D as server manager, which can be accessed by all browsers. And then you can manage your resources and also use the resources to build a new web application, just like the two I showed you in the first two demo. So now I'm going to show you the SuperGIS Desktop. Now here is the SuperGIS Desktop. It is a desktop GIS software which can help you do some geoprocess or yeah, analyze a GIS task, editing, things like that. So now I have I originally have two layers here. So the one is a base map, and the other one is a DEM, data elevation model. So what I'm going to do here now is I want to do an GIS geoprocess first. I want to see that where are the impact area if the sea level rises about 3 meters. So I design a geoprocess here. This one, the sea level simulation. And here I use a geoprocess, and I want to find out that the elevation model, the value of the elevation is lower than 3 meters. So if the sea level rises about 3 meters, these areas are most likely to be flooded by the sea level. So after I run the process, I get this layer, the result layer. So the blue areas here now shows the impact area of the sea level rise. So then I can use that layer and publish to the SuperGIS 3D server and try to see its information in the 3D map. So now to use the 3D server administrator, just right click on the toolbar here and select that. So now I'm going to use this tool to publish the service to my server. So I'll type in localhost, and then I have to name the service, for example, the sea level. So now you can see how to publish a service by using the add-on, and it's very easy. Oh, sorry, I have this the same name. And then the next step is to select the layer that I want to use. So for example, now I only want to publish the 3 meter layer here, so I just select 3 meter layer, click next, and then I have to design the cache settings. And all the data you published, they will be cached and to be drafted on the 3D model. So I have to design the scale definition, extent, and the width and height of the data cache. So now let me just use the default scales. And here is the most important thing in 3D. To design a 3D model, you can put in 3D elevation data, the DEM data, for example, this one. You can put this one into here, so you can show elevation data in the 3D map. And if you want to show some 3D models, for example, the 3D buildings, the KND files or CDGNL files, you can put them there, and they will be displayed on the 3D platform. But now I'm going to skip this part. And the next part is the data analyze, and it will show you that if there's a punctuation marks here, it means that the file name already exists in the database. So if you want to upload the file, it is okay, but the name will be modified. So if you accept the modification, then you can select next, and you can click finish to publish the process. But I had already published this service to my server, so now I'm going to use the server manager to log in and see my service. So you can see there's a sea level service here, which is being published earlier by my desktop. So now I'm going to use this to service here and build up a 3D web application. You can see it is really easy to do that. So to do so, you just switch to the site tab here and click Add. Then select the layer you want to use. So for example, I want to use 2 layers here, and I select them and click on Build. And then I type in the application name. For example, there's maybe a demo, and title maybe SuperGIS 3D server. That's really long. Okay, now here you can select the tools you want to use. For example, the table of content. Yes, I want to use that. And tools, toolbars, yes. And then also you can set the exaggeration. So if you set it higher, the terrain will be more obvious. And then after you have done the settings, you can click on Create, and then click on Done. Now you can click the link here to see your 3D website. Oops. Let me try it again. I'm using Firefox to access. Just hold on a sec. Yeah, here you can see the website comes in your web browsers. So now here I use another browser, the Firefox, to access the 3D map. And you can see this blue area are the sea level rising impact area, and it is being overlaid on the 3D maps. Here we can see the elevations models and the satellite images. So this is how you can do it. This is very easy to help you to build up a 3D virtual city and to share your GIS information. Yeah. So in today's webinar that I have shown you how to use the product to monitor or to model urban environments or natural environments. So the 3D platform can really help you in the cycle of disaster management and try to prevent or even do some quick response to the disaster. And it is very easy for you or for developers to build up a 3D website and try to share the information just by clicking some icons and following some simple steps, and then you can have your own 3D information, 3D platform. So this is today's webinar. I hope you can you enjoy the webinar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, George, and thank you for your attention during the webinar. Just to remind you, if you experience some delay, don't worry, we will upload the video to YouTube. So please subscribe to SuperGIS TV on YouTube so you won't miss the videos. Okay, so if you're interested in the free trial download, please, there are some requirements for your system. So please use Windows Server 2008 post 32 or 64 bits and R2, or you can use Windows Server 2012 and R2. For your CPU, please use above 2.2 GHz, and for your memory and RAM, please have above 4 GB. Okay, and now we will take another short break, the final short break, and a final poll here. Please tell us what is the main concern for your organization to build a GIS website.